Hey everyone, it's Pearlescent Toys back in today's video with another Marvel Legends action figure review, and today we are looking at the Marvel Legends Haslab Giant Man. This is the third successful and what seems to be the final Haslab. What a way to go out on, as this character has been just highly requested from the community as a whole. You know, that Build-A-Figure was great and all, but it was really hard to get your hands on that one at a relatively decent price. So when this one came out, a lot of us jumped on the opportunity to buy it. Not enough, but this packaging looks fantastic. I don't know if I voted for this one. I think I voted for one of the other ones, but yeah, it's nonetheless, it looks fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then the side art, you have all of the core Avengers. Oh, that's actually pretty awesome. The back of the box is like this maybe like a diorama. You could just put it in the background for Giant Man. That's amazing. I love that. Good job, guys. And then the other side of the box is the same, just all the core members. All right, but without further ado, let's get into the review. I was considering using the spinning display stand for him, but I think I'm just gonna leave him as is. Created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby, Hank Pym would make his comic book debut in Tales to Astonish, issue number 27 in 1962. Using his self-created Pym particles to shrink himself, the scientist would become the costume superhero Ant-Man in Tales to Astonish, issue number 35 in the same year. The next year, in 1963, Hank Pym would use those same Pym particles in a new way, reinventing himself as Giant Man in Tales to Astonish, issue number 49. He would be a founding member of the Avengers alongside his wife and fellow costumed hero, Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp. Pym would consistently change up his aliases between Ant-Man and Giant Man and many others throughout the years, one just as iconic as the other. Kicking things off with the boots, and I gotta say, I love the sculpt work here. You can see the leather texturing all throughout the boot. It wraps all the way around. Ooh. We have some giant size zippers on the back of the boots. That's such a neat touch. Kinda wish it was painted silver all the way down. You just have that blue plastic. Around the raised bits of the boot though, you have like the stitching, and the boot is just a little bit raised from the leg itself. We don't really get that a lot in the 6-inch action figures. They just paint that sort of thing on. So it's awesome to see that it's raised up. Just adds to the realism of the figure. You get some more stitching all throughout it, some shading for the creases around the toes and the sole of the shoe itself. Oh my god, just so detailed. Love all the scratch marks on it. Oh, and that's such a neat Easter egg. They even put like the Pym particle logo right there at the bottom of the foot. Moving up the leg, you have some awesome texturing all throughout the red parts of the figure. It's really consistent. It's all like this dotted mesh pattern. The knee joints are just a little bit off in terms of color. At least this one. This one looks fine, but for some reason this one just looks a little bit off. Don't know if that's my lighting or what. There's also some black shading underneath the knee right here, inside of that crease, and it's like that for the muscles on the thighs as well. And I love the musculature too. On the inside of the thigh, you get some more stitching, or is that maybe another zipper going down the middle? And then on the outside of the thigh, you have this line going all the way down. Back of the leg, and there's even some shading right here on these creases as well. There's some muscle right there, and then on for the calves too. And those creases continue on the back of that knee joint. We get up to his giant sized chonies, and lots of shading all throughout these, especially around the hips and these creases, even on the outside of the thigh right there on the butt, giant sized butt. We have this belt too, which is molded in a silver bluish plastic. I love the reflectiveness of it, and that touch of blue in it just makes it look so much more unique. I like it. And then we move up to the strap going across his torso. Leather texturing. Looks great. That mesh pattern continues up here, and there is shading all throughout it as well. Yeah, you could see right here in this crevice, it is just clear as day. The frame, the size of it, sort of reminds me of those old 12-inch Marvel Legends like Hasbro figures when they were trying to bust into the 12-inch scale. Unlike those figures, I just don't feel like it's that skinny, you know? It's not too skinny. He has that heroic build, but it isn't super over exaggerated. Arms too, love the musculature. You get some shading in those crevices right there on the bicep. And just like the legs, the inside of this arm also has some stitching going down the center. The elbow joint also has some sculpted details in there. You know, the crease right there on the upper part, and it's the same on this side. We also have some sculpted detail going all throughout this glove piece, and just like the boots, it is raised up in the sculpt. You can see it's like just a separate piece, and the detail they managed to pack into the hand itself. You can see stitching all throughout the gloves, all around the fingers. See the stitching on top of the hand as well, and on the back of this too. And that sculpt work continues even underneath the butterfly joint. Just like the thumb, the butterfly shoulder joint also has that sculpt work continuing underneath. Now let's move on to the accessories portion, starting with this head sculpt. This is the one that comes straight out of the box. It's his neutral expression. His eyes are sort of off to the side. I don't like the side eyes. There's also this angry expression with him sort of looking down, and his teeth are showing, and there's like yellow outlining all throughout the teeth. You could kind of see it from this angle. It just adds to the depth of the sculpt itself. Those eyes look so incredibly realistic. And the last pair of antennae and last face sculpt that we get are these, the zombie versions. You can see up close just sculpting the scratch marks and the translucent plastic underneath. And that head looks super grody, dude. Look how nasty the teeth are, just brown and yellow, gunk everywhere. Yes. And his eyes are very murky, giving off that zombified appearance even more. Oh, part of his nose is chomped off. Now going over articulation, the head is able to move up this much, look down that much. He has pivot and side to side movement. His arm is able to move this far up and go back this much and go forward that much, just a tiny bit. He has rotation at the shoulder, upper bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow that's able to bend in this much, your standard wrist hinge allowing his hand to move up, down, all the way around. And he has articulated fingers, having a butterfly joint at the base of the thumb. Oh my God, they're all like super stiff. I'm going to break this if I try to move it. Yeah, ooh, yeah. All the fingers are like super stiff, and like they feel gummy too. I don't want to risk breaking any of these. And I did get the fingers to move very smoothly. So this is kind of like an update after the articulation bit. I just ran them under hot water, and yeah, now they move close to fine. Not perfect, but they're fine. He has a diaphragm joint and an ab crunch at the bottom of the waist, allowing him to bend this far back and just a tiny bit forward. He has some pivot at that diaphragm and side to side movement. His leg is able to kick up this much, go out to the side that much, and go back, well, not really at all. Upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee that's able to bend up this much, and his foot is able to move this far down, this far up. He has a toe hinge, and now moving on to size comparisons, and this one's gonna be a little shaky because I literally cannot fit this in frame using my tripod. Here we have Giant Man next to Galactus and the Sentinel, the two other Haslabs. Giant Man is considerably shorter than the other two Haslabs. However, I feel like he is just perfect in height compared to the two, and he doesn't take up as much real estate as those two either. All right, moving on. Here we have Giant Man next to, well, himself, the other Giant Man figure that was released earlier this year in a 2-pack with Wasp. Here he is next to Ant-Man and Wasp, Captain America and Iron Man, Thor and the Incredible Hulk, Black Widow and Hawkeye, Miss Marvel and Black Panther, Vision and Scarlet Witch. Some other decently sized Marvel Legends, we have Hulkbuster and the Super Adaptoid, Thanos and Ultron, Loki and Baron Zemo, Doctor Doom and Kang the Conqueror, Deadpool and Hydra Bob, Darwin and Morbius, and finally Jeff the Landshark and Spider Ham. All right, time for my final rating, my overall thoughts. I think I'm going to give Giant Man here a final rating of 9 out of 10. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. Like, wow, I am just absolutely blown away by this figure. The sculpt, the paint apps, and man, those accessories are a lot of fun too. There are some caveats with this figure, some things that I just wasn't a fan of. Of course, what I'm talking about is the articulation in the hands. Oh my god, it was so stiff straight out of the box. Like, I felt like even like moving the fingers would break them. Luckily, I put them under some hot water and now they all seem to be moving just fine, but they aren't really that perfect. They aren't as fluid as, say, the Sentinel or Galactus. And those accessories, I'm still going to hold it against Hasbro for not just throwing in the scroll head, even though we were only like 100 backers away from it. The zombie head, while cool, it's pretty much a pointless accessory for me, at least. All the regular face sculpts, however, are just great. The antennae were also done very well. This might be a QC issue with my figure alone, but he didn't come with some eyes just pointing straight forward. He came with these ones like looking down and two looking over to the left. And it's just super frustrating because I hate those eyes. I hate it when eyes are looking in one direction or another. I'm going to reach out to Hasbro, see if I can get the regular eyes. But yeah, until then, I'm going to leave Giant Man here at a 9 out of 10. But yeah, that'll do for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment down below what you guys thought about the figure, and while you're at it, like and subscribe and share with a friend. Anything you can do that supports the channel will be greatly appreciated. I know this review was really messy. I'm not really used to handling figures this big, so yeah, I apologize. But with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, and I did get the fingers to move. The fingers on those fingers. The fingers on those fingers. The scientist would become the costume superhero, and I'm gonna have to reach out to Hasbro, see if I can get